Jay. And the other thing that's crazy to me is like, where is Travion Henderson? Like, Travion Henderson has just disappeared. It feels like in this particular game, and I get that it was cold and they want to just kind of go with the hammer here, but like Ramondre Stevenson played 94% of the snaps. And I just feel like we haven't seen Travion Henderson the entire playoffs.
Yeah, I think a big part of the Travion aspect is that the Patriots have been nursing these 3 playoff games, all 3 of them, where they were playing with the lead against the Chargers. They were playing with a lead against the Texans, and Stroud was imploding on the other side. And then once they went up in the Broncos game, they were very much leaning on their defense to win that. And I think the fact that they didn't feel like they needed to create explosive plays or to score heavily to win these games, and they felt just more comfortable having the vet in Ramondre Stevenson, who they trust, which is ironic given his fumbling issues earlier in the season. But I think that it's more likely we see more of Travion in the Super Bowl, just given that the Patriots are, 4.5 trending towards 5-point underdogs in this game. So they're going to have to score. But to me, Lawrence in the Super Bowl, and the opener on this is Seahawks -4.5. The total is 46.5. Seahawks -230 on the money line. So the market's saying that they're a 67-70% chance to win the Super Bowl. To me, the most interesting side of the ball is the Patriots offense, because Drake May, who I thought was outstanding with his legs yesterday. He scores the rushing touchdown. He goes 10 for 65. He gets the third down pickup, gets the first down on the final play to ice it. But I think as a passer in these playoffs, he has really struggled. And I think that a lot of that is on his offensive line. And a lot of it is on the fact that, he doesn't have a Puka Nacua or a JSN who can create a ton of separation. But neither of those things are going to change between now and the Super Bowl. And the fact that May, particularly across the first 2 games, Drake May fumbled 6 times in the first 2 playoff games. And a lot of that was Will Campbell getting absolutely destroyed by Will Anderson. But still, you can't fumble 6 times in 2 playoff games. If he fumbles twice against the Seahawks, they're going to lose that game. The Seahawks are too good. So how do you think that May is going to go against the Seahawks defense?
Well, they have to trust himself in the pocket and trust himself when they get the pressure. Because although the Seahawks couldn't actually sack Matthew Stafford, they got close to him. But the thing about Matthew Stafford, this is a veteran quarterback. He's one of the best quarterbacks in the league. He knows the game. Will Drake May, will he be able to consistently trust his eyes and his feet in the pocket and kind of not just, you got to know when to look to run and know when that pressure's coming, that, keep your eyes out. But then again, you keep your eyes downfield. Are your receivers getting open against these DBs? So it's going to be a struggle again. He's going to have some pressure. Again, they may not be able to sack Drake May like he's been sacked in those previous games, but the Seahawks are going to be coming. So it's going to be all about, can you make it where you could go shot for shot with this team, the Seahawks, much like the Los Angeles Rams were able to do that. Now, we know Stephon Diggs isn't the old Stephon Diggs, but he's still a 1,000-yard receiver at this age. And you talked about Travion Henderson. We're going from, cold, snowy Denver out to Cali now. So Travion Henderson is going to have to be more of a factor. I don't think they go so much for the battering ram with Ramondre Stevenson. So Henderson being a factor could help Drake May. And you just got to see it at this point. This will be 4 games in a row where the Patriots just don't get it going in the passing game if they can't do it against the Seahawks. So I expect better things out of Drake May in the offense.
Yep. Any lean, Matthew, early on Seahawks or Pats at the 4.5?
I took the Seahawks -4.5 as soon as it opened here. I'm just, I'm a believer in the defense of the Seahawks, and a lot of people are going to talk about the offensive line, and rightfully so. I agree with Lawrence that you'll see more Travion Henderson. I think you'll see more Hunter Henry and Austin Hooper. The Seahawks have struggled against tight ends so far this year, so I could see that. It's interesting, right? You think about that Denver game. If Jarrett Stidham doesn't make that unbelievably dumb, was it a forward pass, it's a backward pass, whatever, they recover, and then they should score quickly with the Drake May rush. And there was just not a great sequence. Without that, without that turnover, like they generated 3 points of offense. Like it was not good. Now I agree with Lawrence. Like it's going to be much better weather here, but I just think that you feel better about the Seahawks defense against the Patriots offense than you do against the Patriots offense against the Seahawks defense. If that makes any sense here, give me. I'm nervous about the Patriots here. I will say this about the Super Bowl. I think one team, I think there's a chance that one of these quarterbacks just completely melts down. To your point about Drake May with the 6 fumbles and being sacked 5 different times in 3 straight games, like, he has not been a great passer. And if they stay home and they don't let him get outside the pocket and use his legs, you could see like an epic bad performance from Drake May. That said, Drake May is my vote for MVP this year. And there's a definite chance that Sam Darnold, who, yes, was awesome against the Rams, but in other big games has had these meltdown games on big stages. And we've talked about this. This Patriots defense is absolutely for real. So it's weird. It doesn't feel like to me it's going to be a close game. Like I picked the Seahawks. I wouldn't be surprised if, Sam Darnold also melts down and the Patriots offense gets rolling. Like nothing would surprise me here. It's been such a weird year.
Yeah, I agree. I think that New England's chances largely hinge on leaning on their defense, which has been excellent, particularly since Milton Williams came back. When they are fully healthy, for them to create the ghosts that Sam Darnold once saw in Patriots uniforms on that Monday night game all those years ago. But I think that the conventional way for this game to unfold is that the Patriots offense really struggles. Like they really struggled against the Chargers, Broncos, and Texans defenses. And the Seahawks defense is, in my mind, along with the Texans, the best defense in football. And I think that they may end up defining this game. I think they'll get pressure against the Patriots O-line. And I don't think that the Patriots wide receivers will be able to get separation the way that Puka and Devontae did last night. And so the bet that jumps off the page to me, in terms of, more game and total oriented, is the Patriots under 20.5 points. I don't see them getting to 21 against this Seahawks defense outside in Santa Clara. Quickly before we go to break, the Super Bowl MVP market, Sam Darnold's the favorite at plus 130, Drake May plus 235. I agree with Lawrence. I think the bet is JSN at plus 550. That implies that he's about a 22% chance to win. If the Seahawks win, I think it's more than that. He would have won MVP in just about half of Seattle's wins this season. I think that Darnold wins MVP last night, but Darnold had the best game of his career, and JSN had like an above-average Sunday for JSN.
But my only question about that is I agree with you. But on the other hand, often, I always go back to the fact that on one of I forget which Super Bowl, but Damian Williams should have been the Super Bowl MVP, and they gave it to Mahomes, right? I think it was against the Niners. I think it was the first one against, and but they just don't. They generally, I know it has happened, but they generally like to give MVP to the winning quarterback more often than not. They have given it sometimes to defensive players and wide receivers and other players, but generally speaking, that if the Seahawks win, it means Sam Darnold played at least decently, right? He didn't melt down, and he was able to get the ball to JSN. It's an unbelievable story. Obviously, everyone has talked about, how many teams that Sam Darnold has bounced around and everything like that. And he's finally, this is his second Super Bowl, but his first one as a starter that he's played. And if the Seahawks win, I just sort of feel like while JSN might be, quote, more deserving, feels like it's more likely that Sam Darnold would win the award, which is why he's at plus 130 versus plus 550. But I wonder if you think, as opposed to the Seahawks money line is minus 230. If you think the Seahawks win this Super Bowl, aren't you better off betting Sam Darnold at plus 130 than the Seahawks at minus 230?
Yep. No, I get all that. The only things I would say is that one, JSN ain't Damian Williams. His pedigree is a lot higher. And then
Fair.
Two, I would say the parallel is Cooper Kupp in the Super Bowl, where Matthew Stafford was also an incredible story. His first year as a Ram after all those years in Detroit. but you're baking on, I think, basically Sam Darnold throwing one pick in this game to tarnish his stat line a bit, and JSN going berserk and accounting for, 45, 50% of Darnold's yards, as he so often does.
Hey, it's Matthew Berry from NBCSports.com and RotorWorld.com, and I want to thank you so much for watching whatever it is you just watched, or if nothing else, being too lazy to click out of the autoplay after this video started, after whatever it is you actually wanted to watch finished. But now that you're here, I'd like to take a moment here to ask you respectfully now, okay? I'm asking you respectfully to subscribe to the NFL on NBC YouTube channel. You'll get the latest Roto-World fantasy news headlines, all sorts of great shows, including my own Fantasy Football Happy Hour. So go subscribe now. Again, I'm asking respectfully.